Welcome to Ohio, Dolly, on this day where the governor has actually declared this day, August 9th, as Dolly Parton Day here in Ohio.
Yay! What a
Yay!
nice honor. Thank you so much. I love Ohio. Have a lot of relatives that live scattered all around Ohio. So this is good. I used to visit as a kid now and then, relatives, but I know how great the people are, and especially what we're doing now. What we're
Absolutely.
going to be talking about today,
Absolutely.
the Imagination Library.
Yes, we are celebrating that here
Yeah.
in Ohio, the participation in the Imagination Library. It's, of course, a book gifting program that you started 27 years ago in your little county there in eastern Tennessee. And from there it grew, it spread into, I saw North Carolina, other states, and now today, Ohio. And it's got to be gratifying to you that in a state this populated, that the entire state has now gotten behind your effort, your initiative to provide books to all the children up to the age of 5 in this state. That's an amazing feat.
It is, and it's an amazing feeling too of pride, and just I'm very humbled by that whole process, because it's one thing to have a few counties that have the program, but to say that the whole state, we call it the state rollout program. That's
Right.
what our trip is. We're going to Ohio for our state rollout, which we take a lot of pride in that, because when I did start it, we didn't know that it would ever be this big.
Yeah.
But we knew that it was something special if it did catch on. But we had thought maybe it would just be in our home county, a few counties over maybe. But now here we are all over the world and
That's
all
right.
over Ohio.
In fact, the last I saw, I think it was 187 million books
I know, that's a
have been
lot.
gifted across the world, which is really incredible. Let's talk about this program now.
Okay.
After a family member registers a child into the program, and at no cost to the family, we want to point out, what can the family then expect?
Well, they can expect a book once a month in the mailbox with that child's name on it, and that's really a very incentive, a big incentive for children,
Yeah.
because at their most impressionable age, they're going to go think, "Where's my book? I got to go to the mailbox to get my book," and then they're going to get it. They're going to take it back in the house, and they're going to make somebody read it to them, even though later they'll fumble through the pages and try to
Yes.
memorize it. But it kind of is a family thing. Someone's going to have to, be in touch with that child and sit down with them and read to them until they kind of learn to read themselves. But we also want them to learn to love books and to learn to read more than anything, because as we all know, if you can read, you can educate yourself. You can find a book on anything you're interested in, even if you can't afford to go to college or whatever. But there's something, but you need to read, and that is such a very important thing. And the earlier that you can start, the better off you are.
Yeah, my grandson Leo, just not even 2 yet, got his book the other day in the mail through your program.
I
and
saw the picture, and it's so cute.
insisted that his mom read it to him, and he's becoming very verbal thanks to those books and the reading. So yes, I know that the first book that each child gets is a book that's very important to you. Can you explain?
Well, it's the little story of the little engine that could.
Yeah.
And I remember as a child being fascinated with that book and the pictures. We see that's another thing I think that's very important, the illustrations in the book, because they can actually, place the story to the pictures. But the little engine that could, I just remember that I think I can. And so I really thought I could. And by golly, I grew up and I did.
And you
So
did.
I often say I am a little engine that did instead of that could. So I really think that gives children confidence too. I think it lets them know that if you could just keep trying,
Right.
that you can. It's a big message in that little book.
Oh, there is.
And it's such a sweet little thing.
I remember it as a child myself, and it kind of falls in line with kind of your goal about this, and I've heard you say it, and you'll probably say it again, but to inspire children to learn more,
Care more, do more, and be more.
Absolutely. And again,
Yeah.
that book personifies a lot of that right there.
It does, yes.
So talk about your inspiration to get this started, because you came from very humble beginnings, as we know, 12 children in your family, but 2 amazing parents, including your father.
And both my parents also grew up very poor and in very big families. My dad, it was the main inspiration for this program. My dad was from a family of 14 or 15 kids, and they lived out in the country, and with that many kids coming along, and the schoolhouse being so far away,
Yeah.
my dad didn't get a chance to go to school. And so he never learned to read and write because they had to work in the fields and on the farm to just keep the family going. And so my dad was very embarrassed. He was such a smart man and such a proud man, but it bothered him that he couldn't read, and he somehow believed that he couldn't learn to read after he was grown. And it just troubled me that my dad was troubled because we all loved our daddy a lot. So I just had this idea to put together a program and get my dad involved with me, because I told him, I said, Daddy, there are millions of people all over this world, and even in this country alone, that can't read and write, and especially in this county because everybody was poor. And so anyway, I got Daddy involved in it with me, and we started the program in hopes, as we mentioned earlier, that it might maybe go 2 or 3 counties over.
Right.
But then the governor of Tennessee at that time, Governor Phil Bredesen, he got a hold of it and he thought, this is a really good program, so we're going to take this statewide in Tennessee. So we went statewide, and then the next thing you know, we're in Canada. Next thing you know, we're all over the world, all different places. So it was just one of those things that my dad took great pride in. He felt like that he'd done something special. And he realized that there were so many people that didn't get the opportunity. So it took him out of that embarrassed stage to a proud moment for his daughter, to do well, and that, that I wanted to do something in his honor, to honor your father and mother. So Daddy got to live long enough to see the program doing great, and he got such a kick out of the kids calling me the book lady.
And your mother also amazing woman, and in fact, aren't you leaving something here in Ohio today kind of in tribute to her, a specific book that I think a lot of people have been touched by?
Yes, I am. My mother and dad were great people, hard-working, honest people. And Mom, she was the one who kept us all going, as most mamas do, if you're lucky enough to have a good mom. But Mama sewed all our clothes, and she told us, I always say, Mama could tell you anything to make it sound good, cook anything to make it taste good, and sew anything to make it look pretty good. So my little story of the coat of many colors that Mom made for me and told me the story about Joseph and the coat of many colors. And that little book really is more than just a book. It's about family, it's about love, it's about just kind of everybody pulling together, and that you don't have to have money to be rich. It even covers bullying, saying that it's all right to be different. Everybody can't be the same. So that little book, I think they've used that even in some schools to teach about all of those elements, acceptance and bullying and all that. So my mom had no idea what she was sewing into that little coat that she made for me all those many years ago, but it's just become a little treasure and part of my whole legacy, big part of it.
You are such an amazing person. I have watched a few interviews, and I don't know what, you are not slowing down. You keep going. You have no intentions of retiring, you said, but there are some of us that are approaching that time or are there. How important is it for those of us who are retiring and rewiring to be able to commit a part of our life to something important like the Imagination Library in that season of life?
Well, I think it's important, first of all, for older people to realize they're not over. And there's an old saying, I'm sure you've heard it, that I would rather wear out than rust out. And so I am that person. And I think all people our age, because I just think you need to stay busy and you need to have something that you believe in, just like whether it's the Imagination Library or whatever charity or whatever thing it might be. You need to actually feel like you're contributing something still. And you need to feel like that you're important and that you still have something to offer. You know that old saying, wisdom comes with age. I mean, nobody's smarter than an older person. You've lived a whole life. So you can really help people, with your wisdom. You can find out how you can be of help to people and what you can do. So I say you're never old unless you decide that on your own.
All right, thank you. One quick trip back to the program. Talk about your hopes for it, the terms of longevity, the expansion. Of course, it's already expanded way beyond your dreams. It's an incredible legacy. Your music legacy is one that will be it's untouchable. How about this legacy? What are your hopes for it?
Well, I really think that this thing is going to go on forever, I hope. Although we're still giving away little physical books that they get in the mailbox, hold in their hands and
Right.
see. But in this world of technology and the way that we're all growing, I'm sure that through the years we'll be doing it in different ways. But I hope they always do the little books that kids can hold and read and smell. Because I know I wrote a little song for the Imagination Library. It's called Books. It's like, books, books, I love books, the way they feel and smell and look. From my first look, I was hooked on books, books, books. Then it goes to talk about in a book, you can be anything you want to be. You can go anywhere you want to go. Never leave your room. So it's really kind of that thing. But I think that we will continue to grow. We've had wonderful people through the years helping us out, especially David Dodson. And now we have new blood and new ideas with Jeff Conyers, who's the president. And he's just doing amazing things. So all the younger, newer people have new and better ideas. So I have no idea where it's going, but I'm certain that it's going to continue and that it's just going to be bigger and better through the years.
You talk about technology in this day and age where you can just set a child down in front of a TV or whatever and have them just watch endless cartoons and some of those shows are very good, but still nothing beats sitting with a person you love, a sibling, friend, parent, having them read to you, right, from a book that you can look at. What is the difference, do you think?
Well, I think that, that touch, that feel, that smell, and then just having, like you say, someone that loves you and that you love and relate to, read that to you. It makes a deeper impression. And then, as we mentioned before, even when they hold that little book on their own, they can look back at the pages and they'll remember that from now on. This only goes up to like when you start kindergarten,
Right.
When you're 5, that's your most your most impressionable years. But you'll always remember that. In fact, we get calls all the time when the program ends at 5. Kids start crying.
Yeah.
We don't want this. I want my book.
Yeah.
They get really upset. And then we've been at it so long that we have grown kids in college saying, they've even got kids now in the program,
Yes.
or kids that are still in school saying, I remember that just made me do this, made me think that. So I know in many different ways, it's like a cause of many colors.
Yes.
Also, not just a coat, but it really touches people in so many ways. But we'll continue with it, and it's touched the lives of so many, and especially mine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, any final thoughts? I hope I've covered the main points you wanted to make today, but if there's anything else you want to share, it's yours.
Well, actually, I just want to say thank you and people like you that help us further the cause and ask the good questions like you did. But I'm always out there trying to do something great, and most all of it kind of goes back in one way, whether it's in contributions to helping out the Imagination Library, whether we do charity shows or whatever. But we appreciate all the people, the communities, and the people that get involved in it. And they realize it's a worthy cause. It's not money going in my pocket. I don't get anything from it because the books are free to all children. You don't have, it's not for poor children,
Right.
it's for all children.
Right.
It's for the poor ones and the ones with money, because there's, even in the rich families, there's some, you can have children that are, that have reading disabilities or whatever. But this is for every person. So
Right.
I think it's wonderful that the communities are involved and get involved, and knowing that we have a whole committee that chooses the books. I do not choose the books. I would never be so bold as to think I would know what was right for your children. But I think there's an age appropriate books, in all the different years
Yes.
of your lives. But this is a special little thing, and it's just a good way to get a good head start.
Well, I know our Governor Mike DeWine and First Lady Fran DeWine are huge supporters of this program, and that's part of what's behind the fact that this state now has lined up financially in partnership to make those books available to every little child in Ohio. And again, thanks so much to you for the vision for this program and all that you have meant to it to this point and going forward. It's been an honor to speak with you today, Dolly.
Well, Cabot, we all love you, of course. I know all of Ohio knows you, and a lot of people outside of Ohio as well. But we do again want to thank Governor and First Lady for helping us out. And we're having a nice time with them, actually. We've had a luncheon and doing programs with them here, and actually meeting all the people personally for all the people that are donating to it in their way. So, and thank you again for having us.